Alright folks, this is round 2. I'm back at the farm where I shot that big male coyote last week. Got the Icotec GC500 gonna set up in that far hay field across the beans. Hopefully we'll draw some coyotes out of the woods there to the north and northwest. Stick around, hope for a good night. Howdy folks, it's Nito, the Invisible Man with Pulsar night vision and Icotec game calls. We're back here at the same farm I hunted last week. Shot that big 52-pound male coyote. We're actually on the other side of the soybean field, hunting the far hay field to the north of the farm. That first set last week, we heard a bunch of coyotes, actually 2 packs, one directly to the west in those far woods, and actually one to the north in these woods right here. So we're looking over this hay field. Got the Icotec GC500 set up about 85 yards downrange there. After calling for about half an hour, we were about ready to pack up. I let out one more female coyote howl, and we'd spot what we thought was a coyote at first, but it was a big buck. And then I'd seen the first coyote come out of the woods about 300 yards away. And then the battle of wits began. We had called to these 2 coyotes for almost an hour, and this female finally committed. You can see the buck to the left there. And I actually started playing the coyote pup in distress to no avail. And then I finally got a new call sound, the woodchuck pup in distress, and that got her interest. So slowly she started working toward our position. Lights here now. 143 yards. Ready? Smoked her. Did you hear it whack? Nope. I definitely whacked her. What's she doing? Nothing. She dropped? Yeah, I see her moving a little bit. Oh my goodness. She's just flinching or something. She's not running or anything. Finally. Wow folks, I tell you what, this Nito, the Invisible Man with Pulsar night vision and Icotec game calls, we have been on this coyote and a second one for almost an hour, and there was a buck off in the bean field. That first coyote I think was a male. He was coming in, and then he'd seen that buck, and he actually ran toward that buck, and then he ran off back to the west in those woods. And this female, I think it's a female, she was poking around to my north and west. I was fighting to see her in this grass. I think I finally got a shot. I think it's about 143 yards. Smoked her. Howdy folks, it's Nito, the Invisible Man with Pulsar night vision and Icotec electronic game calls. I tell you what, we got her done tonight. It was a hard hunt. My buddy and I, we actually hunted the same farm where I shot the big coyote last week, and we hunted just north of the bean field, and finally got one of these coyotes to come in. We actually seen 2 of them, and there was a pretty nice sized buck directly to our west, about 200 yards away in this hayfield we were in. And then we were about ready to move to the other side of the farm and look through the thermal, and we'd seen 2 coyotes at the far edge of the field. Well, I tell you what, we worked them and worked them and worked them, and they were kind of non-committal, you know. Finally, that one coyote ran over to that buck, and that buck chased him off. And then finally, this coyote, she started circling around to my north, and I was telling my buddy we kept on losing her. The grass is kind of weird the way that field is. There's like long tufts of grass and then nothing. And finally, you'll see in the thermal, I picked her out. She wouldn't come any closer, so I took the shot. I think it was 143 yards, or it might have been further. Don't quote me on that right now. But anyways, this Nito, the Invisible Man with Pulsar night vision and Icotec electronic game calls. I don't know if you can tell, it's starting to rain. We just got it done. Anyways, hope you all enjoyed the video. Many more to come.